This is the natural entrance of the cave. The natural entrance is the size of this whole concreted area. We think Cherokee Indians used to use the cave for shelter in winter months, entering on vines or ropes. They actually found some remains under this opening. About 18 skeletons were found underneath this area. We'll be standing around there later. And we'll be farther down, we'll be 180 feet down, and we'll get to look up and see the sunlight coming through the natural entrance here. Anybody bring your rope? Yep. I guess we better go in the other door then.
Do you cross your board?
Did 18 skeletons?
Oh, hey, that's not big, man. It's big.
18 skeletons found down there. Yeah. I don't know. Probably when they modernized the cave.
Really?
Bristol Caverns. Bristol Caverns.
I'll be taking your tickets at this time.
Is that like another entrance? It looks like it does.
There are your shores, honey.
In 1863, Mr. Sessler was a local farmer who was looking for a place to store his crops. And in 1863, they didn't have refrigerators. No such thing. No freezers. So if you wanted to store something, you had to find somewhere nice and cool. Well, the coolest place on earth is actually a little bit under the earth, underground. So people would dig root cellars to store their vegetables in. And that's what he was doing. But then he figured out there's already one here.
I remember all that stuff.
Yeah.
We carried water and we had a cellar and
Yeah.
Daddy built that cellar out of rocks like that.
Yeah. Do you have a spring house?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
A spring house.
Yeah.
I remember carrying water on that side porch.
Right, yeah. That's probably hard to imagine, isn't it? Yeah.
Killing holes.
Boy, it makes life a lot easier than it used to be. I tell you
Boy,
that.
home meat used to be mighty good.
But Mr. Sessler, he did use this as a root cellar, stored his vegetables here for a while. And then in the 1930s, the caverns were owned by a man named Alexander Hitt. Mr. Hitt decided to make it into a commercial enterprise and hired people to put in the walkways, the stairs, the railings, the electrical lights, and all the conveniences that make it easy for us just to walk through today. And remember that if you get a little tired on the stairs or anything, it's still a lot easier than to be without the stairs. But even though we have those conveniences, this is still an active cave. The water's still dripping. It'll drip on you and me and the walkway, and it can make the walkway slippery. So please watch your footing and use the handrails where they're provided. Again, my name is Doug. I'll be glad to try to answer any questions you have today, and I hope you enjoy your time here at Bristol Caverns with us. Forecast inside the caverns today. I bet you didn't check that, did you?
No.
Check the weather. It's a 60 degrees, light dripping. And it's just about the same every day.
I guess Sarah's ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Glad we wore jackets, Mom. Huh? Glad we've got our jackets. Can you imagine? Look at these walls. If you need help or need to hang on to me, tell help me.
Yeah, I better get somebody's hand.
Now, Harry got through it. Cave trips. We're down inside a limestone cave. Limestone is the most common type of cave in the world. Limestone is a sedimentary rock. So you've got layers of sediment that are laid down. There's often a lot of dead plant and animal remains contained within limestone. Sometimes people find fossils. And locally, Gray, Tennessee, Saltville, Virginia, they are all part of this big karst landscape that we're part of. There's a lot of limestone. There's fossil sites in those places that aren't too far from here. Maybe some fossils in here somewhere that we haven't seen. But fossils made in something that's covered up very rapidly in a catastrophe like a flood. And when we look around inside the cave, there's a lot of evidence of water having carved through here. You see a lot of places on the ceiling wall where there's just a lot of markings out, where it's just like some violent waters were surging through here. And that in combination with earthquake activity, you can see rock layers turned up on their side in different places throughout the cave. So those two things, two factors, the water and the earthquake, resulted in big open cavities, caves, spaces. And then the stuff that grows in them that kind of sets them apart, other than just being a big hole in the ground, but it's a hole in the ground with some pretty weird looking rocks. That's from the water coming through the soil, mixes with carbon dioxide gas, turning into carbonic acid, seeps through the natural cracks and veins in the rock, and then it dissolves it and deposits these calcite or calcium carbonate formations inside the cave. And calcite by itself might be like a crystal form, it'd be kind of clear, and it can be white, but when it gets mixed in with other minerals, other impurities, it's going to be different colors. And when you look around in the cave today, you'll see a whole lot of it's brown and orange and red, and a lot of that's from iron. A whole lot of iron in our soil, and you see that outside with a particular substance that you don't want to play in and get up on your clothes. Anybody ever played in the red clay? Doesn't come out, does it? It's full of iron. And so here we got a bunch of iron. Iron oxide, or rust. We have rust in the cave, but it's okay. It's supposed to be here. Now the ones on the ceiling are called stalactites. Stalactite. I'll have another chance. Who's
I
that?
quiz them on the way.
Okay. Stalactite, S-T-A-L-A-C, T-I-T-E, C for ceiling. Is how I remember the difference in it and a, yes, stalagmite. Stalagmite, S-T-A-L-A-G, M-I-T-E, G for green. And a lot of people will pronounce them with both with a G, but it is stalac on the top and stalag on the bottom. That spelling will help you remember the difference. But if you're bad with spelling, just remember that the stalactites hold tight to the top, and the stalagmites might grow tall enough to reach them one day. Now, if they do indeed touch, like you see back here, that's called a column. C-O-L-U-M-N. Not near as fancy a name. I'm surprised after stalactite and stalagmite we don't have a fancier name, but here's another column.
That's what I thought. You can.
You notice these look wildly different. This looks more like Cascading Waterfalls, and it may have been. The big factor with these things and how they form is how much water is involved. The more water, the faster they can grow. A lot of measurements have done of caves have just been done in the last couple hundred years. So under the kind of circumstances we have right now, there's not a whole lot of growth going on. But if you've got some massive flooding and a lot more water coming down in here, there'd be a lot more dissolving going on. And people have done some experiments at home to see about dissolving and forming crystals and things. But people have seen formations growing in some caves over a matter of weeks. And there are also places that you can find it that's kind of surprising that you find cave formations, like underneath the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial. They have basement areas and there's stalactites.
It's just beautiful.
Yeah, pretty neat.
It looks like a dead water.
Over here we got a column that fell over. See how the lines run this way? Would have formed up right here and boom, fell in an earthquake. And then you can see that material formed on it after it fell. Lines go up and down there. And we like to use our imagination on the tour and find some look-alike formations, kind of like looking in the clouds, and except unlike the clouds, come back here in a few years and you can still see the same thing in the same place. Here's Santa Claus's face. his hat and his beard. And over here is a sausage and egg biscuit.
Yeah, I get that.
Forgot his
So
breakfast.
that was,
And there's his
Santa Claus.
coffee mug.
which, that right there?
Santa Claus.
And coming up on the left, we got a formation that you can touch. Now, before we do that, though, let me tell you our cave model. First is take nothing but pictures. We can't take any formations, any rocks out of the cave as souvenirs. It's illegal. They're protected by federal law. You're not supposed to take anything out of caves in the United States. But this also has to do with the picture taking. Take all you want. Use the flash if you like. If you're using your cell phone, that's fine too, but you might want to turn your cell phone to airplane mode while we're in the cave because it'll take a good 5 to 10% off your battery searching for a signal the whole time we're in here. And that'll make a difference. But take all the pictures you want. If you want me to take one of the people in your family, let me know. I'll be glad to do that
They put it on
anytime.
it, yours.
Second is to leave nothing but footprints. We don't leave any trash or anything behind in the cave. And third is kill nothing but time. We do have animals in the cave, some bugs, some fish, some bats. We probably won't see all of those things today, but we'll see a combination of one or two at least. But we don't want to harm any of them, but it also applies to the rocks, the formations. When you see a stalagmite, you might be kind of tempted to say, ooh, I wonder what that feels like. And we're going to give you some opportunities to find out. But for the others that we don't say, touch this, please don't, because the oils in our skin can interfere with the process of the minerals depositing and accumulating, and it can stop the formations from growing. And it can also turn them black. You'll see one up here that after we touch it, you see beside it a formation that resembles probably what it once looked like. Stay to the right. Or the left, I'm sorry, stay to the left.
Yeah, there we go.
Now, is this stalactite or stalagmite? Twist, exactly. G on the ground. Stalagmite. Now, check out this one. See how it looks. That's the one you touch. Look at this one. See how sparkly that is? This probably was really sparkly at that time before lots and lots and lots of people start touching it. So that's why we want to limit this. You can touch this. There'll be a few others I'll point out for you to touch too. Now you can touch, some people take that to an extreme. They say, oh, can I touch this or that? And they'll be talking about the handrails or they'll be talking about the little concrete walls that we built up. That's fine. If it's there right beside the path and it looks like it was built there for you to stay on the path, you can touch that. But stuff like this is just kind of growing here and there. That's what we don't want to just go touching without thinking. You can touch our wishes, though.
Take your card.
That's cool.
You hang on the wall.
No, there are no cave drawings. The Native Americans saw caves as sacred, so they were real careful to preserve them. So we know they used torches for light, but they probably didn't use them, since if they did, you see scorch marks. You don't see any scorch marks. That's just a result of them trying to be careful. Okay, is that everyone? You didn't lose any tall folks under there? All right, we're going back toward the entrance.
Here's our photographer's paradise. Our pretty sparkling crystal calcite there.
And we're going to pass it back by the wishing stone, so if you want, you can make another wish, or make your first one a second time. You know, double up.
Yep. I am a student, but,
You ever seen anything like this, Kurt?
I've been here before.
full-time.
I was here about 20 years, 20-some years ago.
Taking classes,
It's my first time.
I teach Bible, history, and logic.
You breathe in it here, though.
Yeah.
I figured you would.
This is my son. The place we're on here, we're going to be down in this area later. We're going to stand on this walkway and look up and see where we're standing right now. We'll see the shield formation. It's like a frozen waterfall. Looks like a shield or dome on top. The common name for these is shield formations. There are some caves that have them, but I think Grand in Shenandoah Valley in Virginia, Grand Caverns, I think it's these things everywhere. But this is our big one, and it's on our ticket. You might have seen it on the yellow ticket. It's on our brochure. We like to include this on a lot of our materials. The waterfall. You know, there's a dinosaur, yeah. Yeah, when we see it from the bottom, it'll be even more clear.
Isn't this amazing?
It is. Yeah, I mean, who would think all this is under the earth without seeing it?
God's creation. We just have to give him all the honor and glory and thanks.
Yeah, this is no accident. Look up on the ceiling, you'll see a map of the continental United States.
Oh, my goodness.
Florida, Maine, Texas, Washington, the Rocky and Appalachian Mountains.
We got some people here from Florida with us.
Yeah.
Now, who figured that out?
I don't know. It's pretty good though. A few times I've looked down and thought, it's a little too good.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy.
It's just amazing, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
The closer you are to it, you can see it.
Tennessee has about 7,500 known caves. Yeah. I think only about, I think between 15 and 20 of them are open to the public. Most caves that are open to the public for tours are privately owned businesses, including this one. A few are part of national or state parks. Some examples would be Carlsbad Caverns in Mexico and Mammoth Cave in Kentucky. Now, this room we're in now is called Mayor Preston's Council Chambers. Mayor Preston was a mayor of Bristol, Tennessee. They say, I believe back in the 40s or 50s, that he would have council meetings back here. I don't know that he did it all the time, but maybe every now and then, maybe on a especially hot day. Because unlike the buildings of that time, the cave had air conditioning. Natural air conditioning nonetheless. Central heat and air too, because it's hot, or it's warm here in the winter when you compare it to the outside temperature. And it's that way year round. It's 60 degrees, give or take.
What's 40 year old?
What's that?
I thought it was 40 years.
40 degrees? No, it's about 60 in here. Yeah, there may be some caves that are that temperature.
I don't know, it's got where you sleep, where sure rough.
Yeah. But regardless, it's pretty cool. Another neat thing back here is the acoustics. I'm going to talk really softly now. Can you hear me at the back?
Can y'all hear you?
Yep.
Yeah. Can everybody hear me? Okay, now I'm gonna do the opposite, okay? Now, before I raise my voice, I want everybody to know I'm gonna raise my voice so nobody gets startled, okay? Nobody gets scared. Your tour guide is not angry at anybody, okay? I'm just gonna say something loud so you can hear it, okay? Here we go. Hello! Did you hear my voice hang in the air for just a few seconds there? Anybody else want to try it? Go for it. Go for it.
Okay.
I had two opera singers here one day this summer, two opera singers, and they sang harmony with each other back here, and it was beautiful. It was neat. Now there's a cave in McMinnville, Tennessee. It's called Cumberland Caverns. They actually have concerts there. They have a PBS program that's filmed there. It's called Bluegrass Underground. They bring nationally known bluegrass artists to live concerts, put it on television. But yeah, it's on TV. You can look it up on YouTube. There's some clips on there. First time I saw it, I thought one of the singers was making a music video or something. Then I realized, no, this is a live performance.
Where is that?
Cumberland Caverns in McMinnville, Tennessee. We've got a brochure for them in our gift shop. It's 1 hour. It's about 3.5 hours from here. I've heard it's a really pretty cake too. Up here we got Polly the Parrot.
I like it. You breathe good.
Now see if you can figure this one out. I'll give you a hint. President when Mr. Sessler discovered the cave. Anybody remember what year he discovered the cave? The entrance we came in? 18. Oh, good memory. Good. You're really close. That's really good for just hearing that. I think you'll do well. 1863. Who was president in 1863?
Abraham Lincoln.
Yes. Abraham Lincoln's dead. Okay. What was going on in 1863 in our country? Yeah.
The War of Northern Aggression.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. The war.
That's what I did. I guess you did your comment.
Yeah. I'm guessing you had that in the South. Over here we got some more formations. This kind of looks like a nativity scene with the birth of Jesus. Some wise men on the way here. And a lady praying with her hands folded in front of her
Well, you
face.
still funny in your little shows.
A little bit.
Huh?
A little bit.
Feel like it.
Remembering now,
Funny feeling.
take a look and see if you can guess what happened to this room or what this
Weird.
the just outside of it. Or just
You
outside of
had told
it.
that her
They even
boy
have
said
it
you was right.
with the plans sometimes.
Do you know what year this was discovered?
Well, you just made
The
these lights.
entrance we came in was 1863.
1853.
Made these lights with in here.
Yeah.
You know why?
And the Cherokees had used it
Died in
before
here.
that.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Well, there may have been both connected with this, but if you looked at this stuff from outside, you know what you'd see? You'd see a sinkhole. This is the underside. Yeah, there's definitely a type of avalanche here, but we're in the underside of a sinkhole. This stuff collapsed, and then water was coming in, dissolving limestone, and so you got a coating of what we call flow stone. Now, I don't know necessarily about this particular area, but some parts, like you see how these rocks look here, there may be under some of these areas. I mean, it might be 2, 3, 4 inches thick, but then you have some mud and some stuff that was under there. There are places around the creek at the bottom where the flow stone's only an inch thick, and it can collapse under your feet, and then you'll be sliding through the mud. And that's one reason you never want to explore caves alone, and you really want to go with a guide because you don't know what you can run into. Cliff, mudslide, get lost, drown, all kinds of things. But this is the underside of a sinkhole. This is on our right when we leave. We'll go back across the hill, look to the right, we're in the edge of that sinkhole. Anytime you see sinkholes, these sunken in areas in the ground, anytime you see that and big rocks sticking up out of the ground, that's a pretty good sign that you're in cave territory. Or maybe former cave territory. It may completely collapse. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's certainly some around there. Now, does anybody think stalagmites can grow on the paths we put in here? They can. Just look at your feet as we're walking around along through here. Most of what you'll see are little black spots where water's dripped and beat the walkway, the asphalt way. But look, if you find some brown spots or stalagmites, just at the very beginning of stalagmites.
So how long will it take these to form?
Well, at the current rate, I mean, if we have conditions like have been here for the last 100 years or so, I mean, it's going to take a long, long time. And people walking on it even longer. The estimate based on a lot of caves today is about 100 years for a cubic inch. However, if we have some kind of major catastrophe, we have flooding, we have tons and tons of water pouring in here, then they can grow a lot faster. And you might see a big stalagmite form in a matter of maybe weeks or something. The more water, the faster they can grow. But right now, it's just kind of trickling. But we do get more dripping with rain. The more it rains, the more it will drip in the cave. And there's some formations downstairs that's like turning on a shower head full blast. I wanted to bring an umbrella one summer because we had so much rain for a few days that it was just, I got drenched. It's not like that today, but you may get dripped on a few times before we're out here. But you look on the path, you see the black spots, you see beginning to few black lines too, where it's depositing minerals. But if there's no minerals being deposited, it's just going to eat away before it grows. Just black. Underneath Headache Rock, and we have most of the cave left to see. We want you to enjoy that without a headache. So please duck your head as you go down the stairs here.
Mom, do you want me to get with you? Oh, my God.
That's what I'm thinking, you know.
Well, you go off and I'll hang on, Mom.
If I had that image, I'd be all right.
Yes, I want to react.
I'm 5'5", so it'll be okay.
cave. That cave covers about 78 acres. We only see a third of it on the tour today. This big rock is going to be our ceiling and wall as we head downstairs. Don't push too hard on it. And then if you look up there, you see the other tour guide and the frozen waterfall, shield formation out there. That's where we were standing.
I bet y'all like to get ahead of us.
Oh, you're fine. You're good.
About to go into the big sections of the cave.
Now watching.
Like the other way there? Yeah, what about that? I mean, that's real caving now. Down here, yeah. Now, if you ever do wild caving, this is what it looks like. It's an adventure, well, except for steps. It's an adventure and it's neat, but you do miss the strategic lighting. So, if you're here today and you wonder, man, you know, I wish I could do the wild caving because it'd be so much better. Well, it'd be adventuresome, but it wouldn't be better in terms of your experiencing the views. It'd be worse in that way because you just, even with a bunch of people, flashlights, you can't just get it. All right, now hold on a second. We're not going down just yet. Over here we got our little bow-legged column. Looks like it's holding up the backbone. Thankfully not. We think that probably formed when there was still water flowing through the cave, and that resulted in the gap there in the middle. And then over here, there's more evidence of water having carved through the cave, as well as some popcorn rock, also known as cave coral. Cave coral, we think, formed underwater with water pressure pushing through the pores in the rock to squeeze it through the other side. Now, up here's the back side of the column. Remember the one I showed you, the one that fell over? And that's the ceiling upstairs, the first room we were in. Before we go down the stairs, we got Cinderella's castle. Once upon a time, it caught on fire. See the left tower? It caught on fire. But somebody from the fire department was able to get to the fire hydrant, put out the fire, and they all lived happily ever after. Now, before we go down the stairs, this is where the gentleman that introduced me told you to be aware of. We're going to be going down a lot more stairs, and there's some steep passage around here too. But we're going to return to this part roughly about 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. We'll be right back to this part. Some people choose to stay here and wait for the group to come back. I'm not telling you what to do, but if you're having trouble with the stairs, if you think it'd be too challenging, you're welcome to stay right here. We'll be back in about 15 to 20 minutes.
What about you, Mom? You want to try it, or you want to stay
I'm
here with
with you.
David?
You're going, lady, don't be
You're not going, David?
No.
Well, maybe I better stay here because
Well, now it'll be about 20 minutes, okay?
I'd like to see it, but
I'll hold on to you if you want to
I'll
go.
bring you back if you need to. So,
Yeah.
I'm like rooting for you.
David, come on,
For you, Mom.
come with me.
She's rooting for
I'll
you.
bring you back.
Yeah,
Uh-uh.
I think you should do it.
Don't make me go if you don't want to go.
All right.
I won't put that in there.
Well,
Used to, I will, 5 years ago.
Yeah,
but
well,
there.
I'll hang on to Mom
Yeah,
if she
okay.
wants to go.
Well,
David,
Well,
will
once
you
we
be
get
all
down here
right?
too, I'll let
Yeah,
you know
I'll be
about the
fine.
more
I'll sit-
challenging parts. And
Yeah.
sit
and if
here,
she
but-
decides not
Will
to
you
like
stay right here?
steep stairs,
Sit
she'll
on
still
them
see most
steps,
of
I'll
it.
do.
Okay.
But,
You won't move, will you?
but I like
Be
it
about
people can
20
experience the whole thing.
And you can't smoke in here.
I know
Y'all want to go ahead of us? 'cause
Okay, if
we're
you want to
slow.
touch the popcorn rock on the way down, it's over here to
Too
the
far for me
right.
to come back up.
Feel the popcorn rock.
Too far for me to come back
Don't
up.
eat it.
Yeah, you're coming back up, it's
Well,
gonna
you
be a
want to hold
problem.
on to this so I won't have to, that's
Memo.
your count.
I'll get in front of her.
Okay.
And then she can,
Okay.
and then you get behind her.
Okay,
So I'll get in front of you, and then you can hold on to me.
all right.
I'm gonna sit here on these steps.
But you can't smoke.
Now, David, don't dare smoke.
A memo.
He
Come
knows.
back up.
A memo. You can hold on to me if you need to. Okay.
I'm holding to this.
Okay.
Well, You wander off and get lost, David.
You'll be all right. He said we'd be back in 20 minutes.
I still worry about my babies. You know, you don't never quit worrying about your children, do you?
Nobody.
70-year-old baby.
You and Vince are my babies. So is Preston and Sarah.
They're all mine too.
I know.
That's gorgeous.
This is just amazing. Isn't it?
Yeah, buddy.
Yes, it is. Look at that ceiling.
I should stay with them.
Also, when you're judging whether this is a reflection or it's clear, look around where it's not, look at the bottom, what you see there, compare that. Might help you figure it out. And also consider that the dry part you're seeing can be covered up when it rains a lot. All right, who wants to vote? Who thinks this over here is, you're seeing the bottom? And who thinks you're seeing the reflection? Who thinks it's the bottom? Who thinks it's a reflection?
That's watery.
I think it's a reflection. Because the water's so clear, right?
It's not clear.
And that's
It's really
water.
murky.
Oh, okay.
Is it water
See,
or
here's,
is it
the
fog?
water's really muddy.
It's water.
So it's just the way the angle of the light hits it. This is a reflection of the ceiling. Yeah, this is what the bottom actually looks like. You can kind of see the edge there with my light. It's hard, I can't penetrate through it there. But the bottom, it looks like this. I mean, this gets covered up when it rains a lot. They can even cover up, not this high, but the walkways we're about to go to. But yeah, there's a really deceptive reflection. This rock's really cool. When you get on down the path, you'll look at it and where it's reflecting what you see above water and below. Instead of showing you how it goes all the way down, it looks like a cube perched on its point. But the deepest part is only about 5 feet. All of us, every single one of us on this tour, if we were to walk down there right now, we could wade through this without being submerged.
Let's do it. 45 degrees.
Mom and I are under 5 foot.
I have done. It's a cold and soggy experience. About 45 degrees. The water comes in from the outside as Sinking Creek, and it leaves as Paperville Creek. It goes for about 1.5 miles through the cave, and we're around the midway point. So it's about a mile. It's about 3/4 of a mile either way. Now, if you turned left into the gift shop, you passed over Paperville Creek probably before you came here. That's what this is. So you might be looking at water that you'll drive over here in a little while. And we have some fish that live in here. Bluegill, trout, carp tend to swim through. More often, we'll see little algae eater, bottom feeder, sucker fish on the rocks. We also see crayfish or crawfish or crawdads, whatever you prefer to call them, as well as salamanders and frogs. They make an appearance down here too. Now there's a black rock along the cave wall here called chert. It's spelled C-H-E-R-T. thousands of years, humans have used chert for various purposes, but around here, the big thing was weapons. And there were a lot of Native American arrowheads in the region that are made of this type of rock. There's another name for it, a more popular name for chert. It starts with an F. Anybody know what that might be?
Flint?
Flint, you got it. So we've got some flint here. And we've got some embedded on top of the concrete wall right here if you'd like to see what it feels like. So it has the properties that when it's broken off, it's hard, but it can have a sharp edge. People would also use it with firearms. Flint locks and guns would ignite gunpowder. Now, so stay right where you are. I want you to see this. I'm going to shine the light on the other side of it and see if it glows. This is called cave bacon. See the light through it? Isn't that cool? It's translucent.
Wow.
Cave bacon is a common name for this type of formation. This one, some people say it's a snake or an eel.
Yeah.
Down here we've got our mama eagle. Mama eagle is watching over her babies in their nest on the beach down here. Well, here's what's left of a little boy that tried to get him. Just his hat.
Pretty good imagination.
Let's go streaks. That's what you might start from.
Taking pictures? That's cool. That's really nifty. Now, what's amazing, I mean, you record people's conversations and all kinds of stuff. Use it for everything but that, right? We're about to go into the deepest, dampest, drippiest part of the cave. So prepare to get dripped on. If you haven't already experienced that. And if you have, prepare to get it again. Anybody ever have one of the old Casio calculator watches? Remember those? I guess that was kind of the original. I saw something where someone was leaving reviews on Amazon. Compared it to that. Same
Oh, I just got it done.
There's the view hole. There's about 5 people over there. Found that out by accident. We're doing some wild cave. I was walking through there. I see them drop off a little something. Now I'm going to put my laptop on.
heard him say retreat.
Is it true that things that live down here cannot see?
I don't think that's true here, but it is true in some caves. This stream has easy access to the outside, and we have a lot of animals that are going through. But in some caves, especially where it's closed off, there's a lake, and where they've been there so long, some of them can't see anymore, or some of them, they've lost genetic information, some of them don't even have eyes. But that's not true here. Now, in the deepest part of the cave, 180 feet down. The natural entrance, the thing I was kidding with you about coming in on a rope, it's right up here. Now, on the stairs, you can probably see it. You see the sunlight coming through the bars? Right there. Just follow my light. It should be right up there. See it? Okay. Now, she's probably the only one that can actually see it. You have to be able to get the stairs to actually be able to see the sunlight. But everybody will see it shortly. And we call those stairs our exercise stairs. There are 35 of them, and they are steep. Now, we do have an alternate path if we need it. If everybody's okay with the stairs, we can do them. But we do have a less steep set to go up. There's no rush. Pretty much. Yep.
Okay, with it, you want to go to the office.
We just got one guy, we got
That's the bridge. Okay. Just take, well, it's like everything else, right? Just take it one step at a time. Before you go up, take a look at the spring. Spring water feeds into the creek right here. Spring water is separate from the creek, though. It's a different source of water. It's always clear. Creek water is muddy.
And this is spring water.
This is spring water. Now, they did modify this. There's a pipe. There's a pump there, too. But the water itself is coming through these rocks naturally. And back in the horse and buggy days, people used to get a bucket through that natural entrance down here. They had some kind of pulley and rope system rigged up. And I guess somebody'd be on this end making sure the water got in the bucket, and then they'd get it back up to the outside. Water for themselves or their horses. Yeah, I wish we had Bristol Caverns bottled water.
I might go ahead of us, we a little slower.
We don't mind stairs.
Used to go ahead and see what we want. First we say,
Yeah, that's right.
I'll in the pub.
We'll be hungry after this. It's been on the street coming back there, and I think it's going to be 2 sides.
Yeah.
David made the right decision.
Yes, he did.
Not having no more breath in his
Yes, he did.
This is just like straight up and down.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, Kirk, I'd have had trouble with this a year ago.
Yep. Metal's been pretty good, isn't she?
Yeah. I'm behind her. Thank you.
All right. Everybody make it up?
Yep.
All right, now somewhere in here, around here is where they found the skeletons. Now, no, it was not the exercise stairs, it didn't matter. We think they probably fell coming through the opening there. You can see how steep it is up there at the natural entrance. They found 18, and they were sent to the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C., and they confirmed that those 18 skeletons were Cherokee. Now, we only see 1/3 of the whole cave on the tour today. There's another third through the creek passages, and then there's another third through these upper sections back here. In the very back of the cave, in this direction, there's a column called Gigantus. It's about 5 of these columns put together. So imagine about 5 of these, and I'm showing my light on, imagine 5 of those mashed together. And it's about 74 feet around its base, 52 feet high, 10 feet thick, and it's the largest known column in the eastern United States. We have a picture of it in the gift shop if you'd like to see what it looks like. We can show you what a 6-foot stalagmite is like next to it, and gives you a sense of the scale. But in terms of the actual reproduction of the site, it's not nearly as pretty in picture. It's really sparkly back there in person. We used to do wild caving tours, and that was part of our wild caving adventure. We'd go to see Gigantus. 2 paths back there. There's a fairly easy overland route. And then there's another path down through here that's what we call a crawl space. You know what a crawl space is? How you get through a crawl space? You crawl, that's right. And sometimes you barely crawl, you squeeze.
Do you think that the Indians have found it?
We think they used it for shelter in the winter months. Don't know how much they used it beyond that. Yeah, but the skeleton, there were 18 skeletons found that we think were Cherokees that fell.
So have you done those two tours?
I have. Yep. Like when I worked here in high school and college, we used to go occasionally with permission. Yeah, somebody from Knowledge family would always be with us, and I'm glad because they knew all the ins and outs.
It's just amazing, isn't it? Isn't it amazing?
Yeah. I don't know that they did.
I'm wondering if they fell in one by one or if they all fell in one.
What do you think?
Right, yeah, me too. It'd be interesting to know, I wonder if any of them were children, I'm not sure.
Have you ever
Very
been to
beginning,
anything
the
like
creation
this?
of the
Can you discuss like economics?
Huh?
Can you discuss like economics, like how much it costs to run a place like this? Or
I don't have the knowledge to really discuss it, so.
be
Be a
curious.
good question for the
I
owner.
bet it's expensive.
But yeah, I'm sure it's expensive. I can't remember the exact cost it was going for, but I know Marengo Caverns, I think in Indiana, it was for sale.
Is there anything
couple years
that you
ago.
have to do in order to upkeep it, or it's just nature does it?
The wiring is the biggest thing,
Yeah.
because all the moisture has to be rewired probably more often than anything. But
That's-
sometimes they repair to the
I
rails
do
and
there
the
is
stairs.
above
Well, I'll
ground.
tell you, it's something.
I'm sure they have
to
like
think
optical
about.
cable and stuff
That
too.
God created this whenever he formed Earth.
It's really nice. I don't know. Yeah.
I'm not sure. The current family has had the cave since 1981. It's changed hands, I think, about 4 or 5 times. Cool. I can't remember the figure on Marengo Caverns. I was thinking it was $1 million, but that seems kind of low. I don't know. It may have been more. But it was up for sale a couple of years ago. Up here we got Snoopy on his doghouse.
There's his head and his belly and his feet.
Yeah.
Snoopy. And here we've got a shelf up in the middle of nowhere. Stalagmite growing on it. Maybe our highest stalagmite in the cave. Over here you can see where water was swirling around. It may have been down here, and then all that was shifted up in an earthquake. You can see the rock layers right here, and they're a little bit warped too. Now the caverns stay about the same temperature year-round, right around 60 degrees, but there are a couple things that are different in how we experience it besides just how it feels to us compared to the outside temperature. When you come in the winter, glasses will fog up. Today, those of us that are wearing glasses expect not to be able to see when we leave. They'll fog up when we leave. Another thing is this wall. There's some sweating limestone on here in the summer. In the winter, it's not sweating. It's dry and powdery. But I'm going to show you a place, if you want to, you can paint your face, make some stripes, make a mud mask. This stuff is used in cosmetics. It's used as a base for some cosmetics. It moisturizes the skin, and it comes off real easy with water. But it'll dry to a white powder. But it's kind of a gray liquid on the wall right now. I'll show you where it's at down here. Be careful as we go down the ramp. Here's the sweating limestone. There's a bunch of it on the underside of the wall right here. If you want to take some, put it on the back of your hand or put it on your face. And just imagine a school group. They all come out. You know where they've been.
I guess we're supposed to follow you.
Yes, ma'am. Take your time. Check out the sweating limestone if you want to.
It's not even what Indians found out. Everybody's tell them what to do. Where?
I believe David used his head when he stayed in it.
Yeah.
It's rare.
Yeah. Watch you step down there. Like we're holding up.
I don't have any hair on my face.
Huh?
Have any hair
Yes,
on my
you
face?
do.
Is it good?
No. Can't say that it does.
Well, great day.
Just hold on to the rail there. I wish there was another route.
That goes to the wild section, just to do wild tour. But it also goes to a door that we use. You might have noticed on the left. They canceled that. Tour exit. They didn't finish the project.
No.
You got some in there, I'm sure.
Huh?
I'm sure you got some.
Mom's got Kleenex.
What's mom for? Ask her for some cleanup.
Here you go. Go back to staff. Oh, yeah.
Hello.